Okay, this is my episode 3, season 2 House of the Dragon review. First, was that not the shortest character intro to death ever? Also, I love how they were saving money on doing the whole production for a battle by just showing the Battle of the Burning Mill, the aftermath. Pretty clever, a little upset because I definitely wanted to see the Brackens versus the Blackwoods and them going ham on each other, and then the Brackens retreating and the Blackwoods being like, ha 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 ha, we're already here. But I don't know, it was clever, but at the same time, I was a little bit disappointed. I'm also a little bit intrigued that on the small council for Aegon, they went, you know, you can't necessarily consider this a win, but at the same time, there was heavy losses on both sides, where we're led to believe, and this is a heavy pro-green propaganda in the World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood Volume 1, that this is an absolute loss for Aegon. He loses Harrenhal, and then when the Blackwoods steamroll the Brackens, basically he has no more support in the Riverlands. He's lost the North. He's lost the Riverlands, he's lost the Vale, he's losing a lot of houses in the Reach. So it was really interesting to see them say, oh no, this is, you know, losses on both sides, where we're led to believe in lore. After this, after the Blackwoods like spank the Brackens, and with Daemon taking Harrenhal, Aegon has just completely lost support in the Riverlands. But we're led to believe, even through the scenes with Daemon, him saying, I need to go talk to Lord Tully and see, you know, they'll follow the liege lord, that maybe it's not 100% secure, so definitely they're changing things up a bit. The twin funeral was just so sad. I understand Rhaenyra wanting to bury both of them together. She saw her Kingsguard, Eric, how much he loved his twin brother, how upset he was, and the fact that he took his own life, not only because he killed his twin brother, but also how would Rhaenyra ever know that he was the twin that lived? She might think, okay, maybe this is Eric pretending to be Eric, and at any point he's going to kill me in my sleep. So basically he had to do this. So I view her burying the twins together a way of respecting her Kingsguard and the sacrifice he made for her. I think the Hand of the King necklace is super creepy. I understand that he just can't pin it to his armor. He has to do a necklace, but that necklace is so creepy. Also, my god, Cole again. He's just such a terrible choice for being Hand of the King. I like as he's walking out of his room after he does his own little prep thing to go to the small council, he's seeing his new Kingsguard, and they're just super lacking. At first I thought, oh, you know, the Green's Kingsguard, they're lax, they suck, because they know Aegon is just an ineffectual king. But then, after looking at them, I'm like, oh, these are Aegon's buddies that have been put to being Kingsguard. So of course they're lax, they don't have respect for the position, and Cole is kind of losing his mind over it, because to him this is such a great honor, despite him being a huge hypocrite. Aemond, every time I see him, he's such a fake mean girl. I love Aegon talking about going into battle, and Aemond's like, oh no, stop it. You could die. Because Aemond knows, based off of everything that happened, Aegon's daughter is not taking the throne next. 𝒿ℏ𝑗ℏ𝑟A, no way. They are going to skip over her, like they've done in previous situations, and it's going to go straight to Aemond. So Aemond knows, oh, Aegon goes to battle and he dies? Shit, I'm now sitting the throne, so oh no, brother, don't go. Oh, so sad. I love the new sigils. I just kind of wonder, how much time did it take to produce these new sigils, especially armor for all their soldiers? Like, is that what's most important right now, Aegon? For you to do the whole high tower green background with your Sunfire Dragon golden sigil? Is that what we really needed to do right now? It seemed a little crazy considering the timeline and the resources being low and all that. I absolutely love Sir Simon Strong talking about, yeah, it's super obvious. This is a super damp place. There's no way a fire broke out since Aegon the Conqueror coming at our castle, and then our lord and his heir ended up dying, and then all of a sudden Larys is sitting and being the head of Harrenhal, and how strong. I know there's a lot of debate in World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, like, oh, who caused this? Was it just a freak thing? Was it the curse of Harrenhal? Was it Viserys himself figuring out, oh no, my heir has been getting along with this strong boy, and the fact that no, Castellan of Harrenhal is like, nah, yeah, no, we know it's this POS Larys. We don't think it was Daemon. We don't think it was, Daemon trying to get rid of Rhaenyra's lover so that he could kind of wedge himself in. It wasn't Viserys trying to get rid of anything that might implicate his daughter in something dirtier. No, it was Larys. He's a POS. It definitely was a comedy seeing Daemon at the table talking to Sir Simon Strong. He's like, boy, I don't think you get this. We don't care. We're here for you. And then when he kept messing up between calling him your grace and prince and that just setting him off, I just think all of that was fantastic. Alys Rivers, I don't know if I'm quite impressed with her yet, but I definitely loved her coming up behind him and being like, you're gonna die there, pointing out towards the water. And I'm like, you go, girl. You get in his head and mess him up. It is interesting to see him being connected to the werewood and then having that vision, that hallucination. We know that Harrenhal is supposedly haunted. I've gone over many videos about the history of Harrenhal, and the bricks, the stone is laid in the blood of others and just the death of others. And then when Aegon the Conqueror came after the castle was newly constructed and burned it down and all those people burning alive, yeah. If any place in Westeros is going to be haunted, it's going to be Harrenhal. So it's kind of cool to see this supernatural element to it with Daemon. And that vision, I did not think they were going to have Millie Alcock back as young Rhaenyra. And sewing up the neck of Jaehaerys, so disturbing on so many levels. I'm really looking forward to more Harrenhal hallucinations. I think this is going to be fabulous. If I want to be super stupid at this point, Aegon saying I'm just as fierce as any of them, this is the emoji I feel like most of the small council had at that point. Gwayne Hightower, I think it's an interesting addition. We did see him in season 1 during the tourney, but he is played by a different actor this season, Freddie Fox. I think so far he's doing a great job. I loved him being kind of this posh kid that's spoiled, had the best of the best, no war experience, and he's like, no, hey, we're gonna go hit the inn up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you being this way is going to get you all killed. Still not sure about having Baela riding her dragon so early in Dance of the Dragons. It's an interesting change from lore, but I know that they just wanted to give the girls more to do. I understand Rhaena being super upset about being sent to the Vale, especially since she doesn't have a dragon of her own, and that's something that she always felt like her father didn't quite love and accept her because of, and then being sidelined even more because of it. Yeah, it has to be very upsetting, and then you lost your betrothed, so there was an extra attachment to everything that's gone. You can kind of understand her point of view. Very sad to see Rhaenyra saying goodbye to her boys. She knows, I may never see you guys again. This might be the end. Something else I find fascinating is in book lore, World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood Volume 1, we're led to believe that Helaena, after the death of her child, she's just so distraught. She has so much depression. She can no longer care for herself. She can't care for her children. But we saw in this episode, even after the death of her son, she's still able to smile and be happy with Jaehaera, her only surviving kid. Now, yeah, she does have an extra kid in lore, and yeah, it has an extra element of sadness with her picking that kid to die and then the other boy dies, but she seems to still be doing okay and just very accepting that this is life. And I kind of wonder, because she's obviously neurodivergent, if in lore that's how they're trying to explain all of that, or just kind of cover it up, because I say this every single review, but I feel like every time I have to repeat it because some people don't know that George, the author of Song of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, World of Ice and Fire, said, pay attention to the differences between lore in World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood and what we see in the show. The show is what actually happens versus book lore. Now, why would those changes be made? Why would it be advantageous for the Maesters or Septons to say something different? And I kind of feel like in this case, it's to describe maybe why Helena's a little bit like, okay, whatever. In book lore, you can just say, oh, she was just so driven by crazy grief. That's why she's this way. Aegon wearing the armor of Aegon the Conqueror just felt like so ridiculous. He seemed so much smaller than the Conqueror, and like the armor just was so ill-fitting, and you could see him looking in the mirror at himself realizing, yeah, I'm a total imposter. Larys, I'm interested what his endgame is. So he went from Alicent to going to Otto being like, I can report on her. And then Otto's dismissed and Alicent has been stripped of most of her power. So he has to go to the next person, which I think he realizes out of anyone, especially between Aegon and Aemond, he can control Aegon the best, which is why he said, yeah, you can go. But some people are saying that Alicent and Aemond want you to go so that they can rule together and have all the power, which made Aegon stay. Because I think Larys realizes he won't be able to control Aemond like he can control Aegon, so it's in his best interest. I like him being put to the Master of Whispers, a little bit of a change. Aegon saying, oh, Viserys never found any merit in this. I sort of feel like it's Tyrion all over again, saying to Dany, don't use your dragons to go to King's Landing and decimate everything, you know, do these side things. And it's kind of Rhaenys saying that to Rhaenyra, like, oh, don't use the dragons, do all these other things, and it hurts Rhaenyra more. Her trip to King's Landing to talk to Alicent was so stupid. That was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. I do think the actress did a really good job when they had this look on their face of my father didn't want me in the end. He wanted Aegon, and then the understanding of, oh, no. Viserys was just continuing the conversation they had about the prince that was promised about Aegon the Conqueror. It wasn't that he wanted Aegon on the throne. But Alicent at this point can't. Alicent, basically everything she's done is because of the dying words of her husband thinking she was doing the right thing. Well, if it turns out it was a misunderstanding, she has caused so much bloodshed, so much death, so much chaos based off of that misunderstanding. She can't let that go. She can't say, oh, I was wrong. Because one, she has no power to correct it at this point. She's not going to go to her kid and be like, hey, so Rhaenyra came and we had a conversation and I figured out that I misinterpreted my husband's words. So no, Aegon's going to be pissed. Okay, she was here. You didn't call the guard. She didn't get her killed. You couldn't have stopped it now. Even if he believes it, especially with Otto saying, oh, you think your father wanted you on the throne? He's going to continue on because what else can he do? Is he just going to give up power? Is he going to let people think he's weak or a fraud or not meant to be the king? Hell no. This is a kid that has been given almost zero love his entire life and has always been giving into his vices to fill that emptiness inside him. He's not going to step aside at this point. So I think we've definitely set up for episode 4. We're going to see wars here. Dragons are coming out. It's going to be a bloodbath.